What is going on, everyone? Welcome to yet another episode of the Schoch Factor Podcast, where this week I am joined by the well-fed Jake Mintz and the beautiful, the handsome Jordan Shusterman. How are we doing today, fellas?
Call me turkey sub, baby, because there's one in my mouth.
It looked like a good turkey sub. Was that a King's Hawaiian roll or a Martin's potato?
King's Hawaiian is elite.
Yeah.
Does not get better. I mean, I guess no free ads, but man, Hawaiian rolls are.
They've earned it. They've earned it.
Hello, Steve. Good morning. Jake is still chewing. It's great to see you. I know we've been a little bit busy, and hopefully a lot coming up for Jake and I. But this is a fun time of the year, Steve. I will admit that this particular weekend that we just had, which is the start of D1 softball and the start of the Division III baseball tournament, has me a little bit less focused on D1, although still important. And this week, especially with the amount of stuff at stake in terms of who's getting into conference tournaments. I know the SEC situation is absolutely ridiculous right now. Texting a lot of people about that yesterday, which is super fun. But I know you did some travels, so I'm excited to hear about where you were and what else we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. This weekend was an absolute banger. Lots of travel. It was a long travel day. 3 hours to the airport, 2-hour flight, then 3-hour drive from Dallas to College Station, Texas. So if you're going to make the
fly from home and not drive those 3 hours to the airport.
Yeah, because I live by smaller regional airports, and I'm thinking about the environment, and thinking about those emissions and thinking about, the price of flights, which really just that's the end of the day. That's the end all be all. But really just more so being a good person, making sure the fuel emissions and of course, all that money I saved and cost I saved the world, all that emissions on our carbon footprint was completely thrown out the window by me driving in Texas, getting tailgated and absolutely torched past by diesel trucks every which way because I was not used to the 75-mile-an-hour speed limits. And let me tell you, that's awesome. Driving in Texas, coolest thing in the world. Just watch out for the F-1500s or whatever is going on because those things can go. But just a fantastic time down in College Station. The first day there, it was thumping rain. It was Thursday, and I got 3 different severe weather alerts on my phone. You know how they just kind of abduct your phone and go, hey, you're going to die now? Or they go, hey, look out for this missing kid that, what?
Those are the only 2 options.
Never seen them. Never really. I've kept an eye out, but haven't caught them. I did actually, speaking of random emergency alerts, while I was driving my rental car, which was a black Chevy Trax, there was a silver alert for an older gentleman in a black Chevy Trax. So I was getting a lot of looks myself. But anyway, I'll get back to the point.
Real? Did that actually happen to you?
Yeah, that happened. In a car, like a silver alert, I understand it's a good thing. We're trying to find a person who doesn't know where they are or something of that nature. I don't really understand it. But either way, how am I supposed to go on as someone driving the same car? Do I wave my hand out the window like I'm good? But if I see a hand out the window, I don't think I'm good. I think that's bad because that's
Steve,
not
you're
normal.
here today, so I think you handled it fine.
Yeah, we survived. But anyway, getting back into it, we had 2 emergency alerts for severe weather and tornado alerts. And Houston's getting hammered, I learned from Kendall Rogers. And a lot of people lose power there. Anyway, the field is completely underwater. I have no idea how. I am at a bar. I am having beverages. And they're the streets are completely flooded. It's bad. There are Ford Fiestas flying down the road, just completely. They look like jet skis at this point. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I don't know how. Baseball games probably not happening. Somehow the grounds crew pulled it off. Like there was a general lake in center field, and these guys got all the water off the field, got it into playing condition.
Can you give me, Steve, can you give people the time stamps exactly? Like how long between it's a lake and play ball?
I would say It's a Lake was around 6 was when they were able to get out there and get pictures, because it was raining sideways and it was like bowls of soup every drop.
So wait, 6 p.m.?
Yeah, around 6 p.m. is when I would say they officially started draining.
Okay, and then when is first pitch?
First pitch was scheduled for 7, but they pushed it back to 8. I remember I got the last severe weather alert I got was at 7:15 p.m. And I was like, there's no way a baseball game's happening. Then next thing I know, first pitch, 8 p.m.
That's
severity is relative, baby.
I gotta say, I mean, I'm sure that the grounds crew is amazing. This has to be like a feat of drainage that is just miraculous. I mean, this has to have as much to do with the actual physical structure of the field and whatever system they have than what the grounds crew is doing. Not to take anything away from them, but that's unbelievable.
Yeah,
I don't think you just took it away from them, Jordan.
Yeah.
And I think what we got to remember is the fact that this is the A&M crew that got that Binghamton player out of that bathroom, you know? So it's a crew that's been through it.
Park Ops team is unmatched. Not only do they have one of the best offenses in the country.
Yeah, it's getting through that deadbolt, that pesky deadbolt. I actually got to talk to the gentleman, the head of fields, who took care of that situation. He explained that he thinks that a player may have been upset with their performance and the door got slammed, and that might have caused the locking mechanism to mess up. So let this be a lesson, everybody. Not pointing fingers at anyone, but the man trapped in the bathroom may have trapped himself.
Slam your helmet, not the door to the toothbrush.
Now, another thing, I don't want to discredit it.
My little leaguers.
Yeah.
Slam the helmet, or you could end up like this college kid. He was trapped in there for a day. But either way, these guys did an incredible job. I think the world of baseball just wanted to make sure we got to see Ryan Prager and Hagen Smith toe the rubber against one another, because it was an absolute masterclass of a pitcher's duel. Like anytime there weren't often times of trouble for either of these two, but anytime there were like a tense situation or they needed a big pitch, these guys just simply executed. Like it was very much like that Paul Skeens Rhett Lauder matchup. I know way smaller of a scale because it's regular season, but the pitcher's duel was there. And like any good pitcher's duel, it ended with a walk-off walk in the 13th inning, I believe. So, or was it the 13th? Yeah. It got to the witching hours quick. Those late games, it gets delayed. As soon as it's extra innings, it could be the 15th, it could be the 100th. I would have no clue. But either way, just a really good pitching matchup. And it was really cool to see, like, you know, these are two prolific offenses that just, you know, got sat down inning after inning. And I mean, I do think it's kind of rude for there to be a day. Like if I'm a freshman and I see the rain we're having in College Station on the road, I'm like, okay, you know what? We're probably not playing baseball today. Or at home, you know what? Probably not playing baseball today. And then 3 hours later, you're standing in the box while Hagen Smith is throwing baseballs 100 miles an hour at you. That's kind of rude. So
you deduce during your time in College Station, either one, what A&M stands for, or two, why it's called College Station. That is an abnormal name.
I would say College Station. My guess is because there's a lot of trains that go through it. So everyone's like, train station. What else do we have here? College too. College Station. Like maybe it's like an export area, because A&M stands for agricultural and mechanical, which I remember from my last time when you asked me that, and I did not know that one. You know, bullying works. Bullying makes you remember things. I remember there was one time, got a really bad haircut, got bullied, never got that haircut once more. You know, so I think that helps. But I assume with all the agriculture going on, they're like, hey, how do we get this agriculture out to everybody else? Trains, College Station, but I don't really know.
Let us know, listeners. Is that it?
That seems correct on a cursory Wikipedia search. So, Steve, I think you nailed it. I think you are clearly an expert of College Station. I am glad you got to see. Yeah, that pitching matchup was amazing, especially right to your point. Like in the afternoon, you're kind of mentally like, I guess we want to have baseball tonight, and then it's like, oh, we are having baseball, and the hitters certainly were acting like they were not expecting to play that day. But credit to both pitchers who were marvelous. Higgins Smith continuing his truly historic season, which deserves all the love and more. And then A&M kind of responding in terms of I know they dropped the game on Saturday, or I guess on Friday, and then they mercy rule, right, run rule on Saturday with Ryan Targac with the walk-off single, RBI single on senior day, which was very cool. So this was like a series we've all been anticipating for much of the SEC schedule, but ultimately, both these teams are in great shape to be top 8 seeds, and we'll see. Maybe we'll get a rematch in Omaha or something. But if we do, maybe we would. That'd be cool if we get a second version of the, because that's obviously not something we had when we had Skeens and Louder. We were kind of talking about that possibility all season. We hadn't already seen it in the regular season, but maybe we will get a rematch at some point.
Yeah, and let me just tell you, College Station in general, there are a lot, like as a fan, if you go there, it's easy to feel like an outsider because there's a lot of traditions. I totally understand all the cult comments that other SEC teams make or SEC fans make, not really teams. Because there's a lot going on that as someone who did not go to the school, I didn't understand. There were a lot of songs that I didn't know the lyrics to that everybody else knew the lyrics to, which, that was cool to see. It's cool to see people that are bought in like this. I will say in terms of student sections, this was like one of the loudest. Section 203 was absolutely insane. So I want to give them a shout out. I sat out there for an inning, and let me tell you, my ears were ringing the rest of the day. There were some high quality chirps and high quality people. A gentleman dressed in a Teletubby costume, which, you can't beat stuff like that. And then I want to give a shout out to Cooper's Barbecue because I had the best meal of my life in this place. Like, if I lived in College Station, I would no doubt be 400 pounds. And even with the heat, even with the meat sweats I would be getting, this place just had so much barbecue and it was so good. And I don't understand it, that after they let you pick your meat and they cut it right in front of you and they go, would you like it baptized in sauce? Which, I mean, who would say no to that? That became my new religion. And I think that's how they get you. I think that's the slippery slope, that if it is a cult, that's, the gateway.
So that's the thing. It's just important to remember, cults are only bad if you're not in them.
Yeah, honestly.
You're in a cult.
Bad.
Yeah, what's so bad about that? And so it's easy to maybe make fun of Texas A&M fans for occasional cultish behavior, but who's having a great time? The people in that cult. And so live your life, live your truth. That's what I always say to my fellow cult followers.
Yeah, and that's just the way it should be.
That's what college baseball is all about.
That's what college culting is all about. Just finding a system of religious veneration and devotion directed toward a particular figure or object. I don't see why that's bad. Having an admiration, I think it's positive.
Steve, thank you for recapping your College Station journeys. What else happened in college baseball this week? We'll get to our moments and we'll preview some conference tournaments, but anything else from this past weekend that you definitely wanted to hit at the top of the show?
Yeah, so I got to talk about Army currently. Right now, we are in the midst of the Patriot League Championship, which is always exciting. We love the Patriot League. We love our troops duking it out in the Patriot League, especially in the championship. So got to give a shout out to Army taking game 1. Navy kind of fought their way against Bucknell to even be playing in the championship, which is really cool. So that was cool. And then I did want to apologize to the Air Force because I accidentally leaked confidential information, a confidential, unlicensed photograph of a military aircraft because the Air Force baseball team was traveling back from one of their series in the back of a giant plane, which I see it's a picture that was tweeted. Someone tweeted it, and I tweeted the picture because I saw it out in the public domain. I don't know. I don't think they were actually that mad at me. They were just like, "Hey, you got to take that down because that's not supposed to." One of their assistant coaches. I understood. Like made sense.
The teams.
Yeah, because it was unauthorized.
I'm not done with my questioning, sir. Where did you find this photo originally?
Twitter. It was on Twitter. It was like circling around.
But everyone knows that America's enemies follow Stephen Schoch. They didn't want you amplifying that.
My fun fact, my most well-known or my most viral tweet I've ever had, most liked tweet, I guess, was back right after the College World Series, the New York Post. It was when Elon Musk bought Twitter. He came out with a rule that said the Taliban can be on Twitter if they follow the rules. And I quoted it and I said, Taliban, known rule followers. So, you know, I don't think, like, I don't think they're going.
That's your legacy is great.
They love Steve in North Korea.
Apparently, but either way, the picture's taken down.
That's good. I don't want us getting in trouble for some heinous mistake that you had putting our country at risk.
Can you imagine if that'd be the end of this pod? Like if Steve's downfall was
pretty good way to go out.
The Air Force.
It's the thing about it that was surprising was like, do you not want the enemy knowing that we're carrying baseball bats and gloves? Because if I were in the Air Force and I wanted to scare the enemy, what I would do is I would load up my baseball team. We would all be loaded up and we would be huddled around the 2025 Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat because, baby, have you guys heard about the Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat by Soldier Sports?
Yeah.
This isn't just any bat. It's lighter and hotter than any of its predecessors. And that is thanks to its infused power alloy technology that creates an ultra big, ultra hot sweet spot. Because it's so light, it travels great on planes. You know, it's perfect. Crafted from over 2.5 years of research and development, the Soldier Tank is a perfect blend of speed and power designed for both power and contact hitters alike. It features a formula for success. Speed times mass times impact equals extreme power. I've seen it swung. Even the miss hits have juice with the Soldier Tank. The bat is priced at an incredible $311, which is well worth it to swing the top scoring BB Core bat ever. They're selling out fast, though, so head over to soldiersports.us to secure yours today.
So, thanks, Steve, I have my high school alumni game.
Okay, you want it?
Well, that's why Wednesday.
How can I get this to you by Wednesday?
Well, we'll take that offline and figure that out.
Yeah, because I know that I'm gonna have some mishits.
I was gonna say
you want some juice with those.
Would like to have some juice as an option.
Well, Jake, you've come to the right place. That's why I'm here to tell you.
I'm anticipating just so many mishits for me.
Well, tell the people in foul territory to wear some helmets because they're going to be coming at an alarming rate. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
Steve, has that bat seen a ball? Has that bat hit a ball? Or is it fresh?
Not yet. Not because I can't, but because I don't want anyone getting hurt. I don't have the proper eye protection.
You're saying like the Soldier Tank plus the unlimited power of Stephen Schoch is too much for American society. That's what the Air Force is really scared about. Is the Soldier Tank.
Honestly. They know because they have that, psychic abilities to see the future. They know the true power of me with this bat, and that's what scares them. That's what scares everybody, I think, is the Soldier Tank BB Core baseball bat. Thank you, Soldier Sports. But moving along, getting back into it, I want to talk with you guys about conference tournaments for a little bit.
Let's do it.
And just kind of go over a few of the big main ones and kind of not say who's going to win them because we won't leak the script, but kind of do our guesses as to who we think could win them and who we think could really benefit from playing them. So where do you guys want to be in? Is there a conference tournament you guys are particularly looking forward to?
So we had this conversation on the show before, and the reality of conference tournaments is that the best ones are the ones that aren't the best leagues, because the best leagues, not only is there a lot of teams that, I mean, it's just simple. Are there stakes, right? Why do we care about anything? Why do we watch sports? Why do we, what gets us to tune in is that the game will impact something on in the future or whatever, means something. And unfortunately, that's not always the case for the best conference tournaments. Now, this year, the SEC, there are very, very, very real stakes in the SEC tournament because of the 5, 13, and 17 teams that have backed their way to Hoover, which is truly hilarious. So I will say that this year, I am more compelled by the SEC tournament in general, but it's all about these other smaller conferences that are going to be 1-bid leagues, right? Or maybe 2-bid leagues. And the opportunity to have, I mean, what we had last year with Tulane, right? I mean, am I expecting a team that's that far under 500 to go on a miracle run again this year? Not necessarily, but it's totally possible. And we have no idea who those teams are going to be, but I can't wait to find out because those are the stories that are really, really, really fun.
I hope the ACC has a great time this weekend because I won't be watching a second of it. I will be locked in.
That's fine. Steve will be there, so you don't have to bother.
But yeah. I'm saying, like, you put stakes into the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
And that's going to be spectacular. Like this year, I am amped for that because you're right. Usually Hoover, the atmosphere is special and the environment is special, but the baseball itself can get a little wonky because they're playing so many games in such a short period of time. And if it ever rains, it lasts until 4 a.m. And it gets to a point where it doesn't feel real. And then how much meaning does it have if all these teams are just going to be in the tournament next week? Right. However, this year, like you said, with South Carolina and Florida and Vanderbilt and the two,
Alabama.
who are the two other teams?
Alabama, South Carolina, and Vandy, Florida. Yeah. LSU. Right. So LSU also. So, I mean, these first games, these first round games where we have Alabama against South Carolina, Vandy against Florida, is just huge. Delicious. Right. I mean, that's really something. And Florida, I mean, again, you listen to all the other D1 baseball podcasts, they'll lay it out for you a lot more clearly. I encourage all the people to read all, everything that Mark Etheridge and Aaron Fitt wrote over the weekend. Like, it's super duper interesting and debating. Like, actually, let's just have this conversation because it's just been fun. Of these 5 teams, these 5, 13, and 17 teams, regardless of whether they will, let's say they all get in. Okay, let's just say they all get in. Who do you actually think is like the best? Who could win a regional as a 3 seed between LSU, Vandy, Florida, South Carolina, Alabama? What do you guys think?
That's a great question. I think Vanderbilt would surprise a lot of people. I think they have more depth than they've shown. I just think for them, I feel like it's a youth thing. Like they need some of their younger guys to fill in spots and just kind of step up. And I think having the opportunity in a regional would be insurmountably huge for them, just because that experience as they go on in their career benefits them so much. So like, whereas, maybe they don't make an Omaha run this season, it's the team before the team where, like, they get their experience, they get their toes wet with the postseason, and then they can really take off. Not saying that they can't do it this year, but just saying they're a team that I really feel like has the potential to do something like that.
I would lean Alabama or Florida. I think Florida, their problem is just they can't friggin' pitch. Like, you could envision a scenario where that offense just gets hot enough over a weekend to kill it.
I guess. I mean,
again, like, we're picking hairs here, right?
Yeah, that's why that's why I just lean back on who has the best 2 starting pitchers, and it's Vandy or LSU still. But but I have no idea. And South Carolina entering Hoover on an L7, getting swept 2 weekends in a row, or I guess L6, whatever. I don't know. I can't get excited about them. I'm definitely having trouble getting excited about South Carolina, but I don't know. They're all, of course, I understand why they all arguably deserve to get in, but it's really something.
I have to say, they all get in, which they probably won't, right? But if they all get in, I understand. Like, I think multiple things can be true. I think all of these teams are true talent, skill level, like better than whatever
for sure
non-Power 5 bubble team might get in over them. Like, I do believe that. But I think that our sport is less interesting when we're putting in the 10th best SEC team instead of a program that doesn't have that type of financial behemoth,
I agree,
situation. And I just hope that the committee is fair about it, right? And I understand that SEC drives our sport in such a large way because of the money and the eyeballs, and that's a good thing. And I think it's made our sport better. But just maintaining a level of parity and kind of geographic diversity across the field of 64, I think benefits everybody.
Yeah, and I'll say last point on this, and then Steve, we can actually talk about what you want to talk about, which is the conference tournaments. But to me, looking at the landscape, I think this year, if they do get 11 teams or even 10 teams in, I think it's going to have as much to do with some of the other power conferences being down as much as it is the SEC being that good.
I agree.
And that still ends up at the same result. Like the idea, I was texting with Runes last night, just the absurdity if they get 11 teams in and how they have to spread them out over against 11 different regionals. Like they can't all be, it's just to have an SEC team in 11 of the 16 regionals is ridiculous, but very much in play. So we'll see. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because we probably aren't going to record again before the selection show. So I just felt like we should have that conversation sooner rather than later. But anyway,
Steve is in my field of 64.
Yeah.
And you guys are I only got a field of 3, like Lil Wayne keeps a small circle. But no, it's just, that's such a tough question because I can't, like, all of these teams have been so up and so down at different times throughout the season. So it's like we've seen them be really good, but we've also seen the other end of the spectrum. It's just a matter of who's going to be really good at the right time. And I feel like, there's an argument for any one of those teams.
Yeah. I wish it wasn't this simple, but I know it's not as simple. If you lose your playing game in the SEC tournament, I don't want to have to think about you again. I'm sorry. Like if what you said is what it's Florida against.
So
Vandy.
it's Florida, Vandy, SC, Alabama, and then LSU, Georgia. So, LSU, Georgia is a little bit different, but yeah, those are the
if you lose, you're done. I'm sorry. Georgia too.
Yeah. It'd also be really funny if like Ole Miss is cooked at large wise, but like it'd be funny if they just win. Like this is the last thing I'll say because we should move on from this. Trying to predict who's going to win the SEC tournament is a joke because it's so ridiculous. That said, let's do it. I am going to I'm taking Kentucky. I think Kentucky's just going to find it. I don't really know how, but that's kind of been the theme of their season. So I'll take Kentucky to win the SEC tournament. Who you got, Jake?
I got to pull up the bracket. The bracket's kind of really important for this.
Yeah. No,
I'll take.
Yeah, good call.
I'm just taking a team with a bye. I'm not. It's really.
I'm gonna do the same.
How about I don't know. I actually be curious to know how many times a team that hasn't had a bye has won this.
I'll take Tennessee. Great. Okay. Wow, I'm so brave.
Exciting. All right, Steve, who's your pick?
I'm going either Texas A&M or
pick
Kentucky.
One team, Steve.
But I need to know who's having more fun. What if one of them's having less fun?
All right, I'll go Kentucky. Picks are so important.
Kentucky.
So just pick Kentucky. Okay, thank you. Join me.
There
All right, there you go.
Call him a hedge fund manager. He's a hedge fund manager. He hedges so much. Forget Steve Cohen. Steve Schoch.
Steve, let's go to the ACC tournament, even though it's the one we really don't care that much about. Okay, we got all these pools. Everybody makes it except for Boston College and Notre Dame. Sad for them. You will be there in Charlotte, right? It's not in Durham. It's in Charlotte this year.
Right? In Charlotte. Not a single actual pool at the field.
That sucks.
Which
so much conversations of pool play and no pools at all.
Yeah, like where am I going to take my torpedo? What am I going to do with that?
You could apply this to regionals as well, and D3 regionals, whatever, where there's supposed to be 3 games in one day. I just would love to know how often a regional Like, what's the closest a regional has adhered to the schedule of games that it is supposed to place out, right? Like, it says, 11, 3, 7. Okay. How is that?
Okay.
How often have they ever come anywhere close to doing those?
Dude, the SEC one is amazing. The SEC one I like. The SEC keeps it real. Okay. Game 1 for Georgia LSU is 9:30 a.m. Hilarious. Game 2 plus 30 minutes. Yes. Love that. Game 3, 4:30 p.m. Game 4 plus 30 minutes.
Yep.
Good.
Much better. Anyway, ACC tournament. I'm not even going to bother reading all the pools, but just glancing at them, who do I think is going to win the ACC tournament? I'm going to pick.
I got North Carolina.
I'll go Duke.
I'm going to be brave. I'm going to pick Virginia.
Whoa.
Wow.
Be crazy.
Keep it easy.
All
right. Next up, Big 12.
Yeah, let's do Big 12. This one. I think this one. I am actually very, very interested in.
It does feel bigger.
It is at Globe Death, so we have. It will be at a big league ballpark.
Hate it.
Now the teams from Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State have the buys. And we have 8 more teams beyond that. This is another tournament that does definitely have stakes. We have teams kind of in that bubble-ish region. Teams like Cincinnati, teams like UCF, teams like TCU, Kansas State. Kansas State, remember what happened to them last year? They were probably one of the last teams out. Had a tough little roll of the dice there at the end. So they certainly have something to play for. They're playing Kansas to start the season. I will say the thing that's taken my attention in the Big 12 is that I know I didn't really see him do that much, but JJ Weatherholt, boy, he's like, hey guys, remember me? Remember when everyone thought I was going to be the number 1 pick? Jake, you muted your mic. Everyone thought I was going to be the number 1 pick. You should not forget about me because I am JJ Weatherholt. I am very talented, and I hope that he carries that into the Big 12 tournament.
I'll take Cincinnati to win the Big 12 tournament.
That'd be amazing. That'd be so cool. I am very much rooting for them. They were very, very fun to watch, and it'd be so cool to see them in the tournament.
I love that. I'm going with West Virginia. JJ Weatherholt, when he's healthy, he is just like, his swing is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The West Virginia media crew does a great job of always standing in the right spot to record his home runs in a very satisfying way, which I think is very important. Like, I feel like they're like, okay, hey, JJ's coming up. Make sure we have someone first base side. Make sure we got a really good angle of this home run.
The Big 10. We're
Big
like
10.
Small 8. The road to Omaha. Again, it is maybe my least favorite thing in college baseball. Number 1.
Yeah.
It is my least favorite thing in college baseball that they play the Big 10 tournament in Omaha. I will pick Iowa, who has underwhelmed all year. Pretty consistently.
That'd be really cool.
They got to Omaha though.
They made it. We predicted that they would make
it. They get punched.
Illinois is the top seed. Nebraska has been the most consistent all season. I'm still so bummed about Maryland just choking it away in the last weekend. I'm going to go with Indiana. I'll be an Indiana resident for another 2 weeks. I don't know if they have the pitching to do it, but they've definitely been swinging it pretty well. I know they got Purdue in that.
That about every college baseball team, I think.
Yeah, most of them. That's actually a fair point.
And that's why I'm taking Iowa, because at least in theory they have pitching.
Yeah, and that's the exact same reason I'm picking Nebraska.
Okay.
Yeah, they've just been consistent all season. I feel like every time in picks that I pick them, they ended up winning. And that's what I mean by being consistent.
What the heck happened here?
What?
Brody Brecht walked 4 in 1 inning and got pulled in this past weekend. Just when I thought he had turned it around.
Anyway. That's what he wants you to think.
Hopefully he's not hurt. That's not.
The last of the Power 5. The final Packeronian 12 baseball tournament. We have 9 teams. 9.
Yeah, 9.
How are there 9 teams?
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
Look, they're new to conference tournaments, man.
Just in time.
Same as ACC.
Yeah. They weren't behind the curve at all.
Oh, they have 3 pools instead of 4 pools. Okay. Yeah, this is I hope everyone has a great time. And we say goodbye to this conference with an absolute bang and a half. I will take Oregano State.
Good call.
Steve, who are you picking? Then I want to talk about Stanford, who I'm not.
I'm going with Oregon State. Travis Pisana's broken too many records to not hold the final Pac-12 Beaver champion crown.
Yeah, he deserves it. He's earned it.
I'm going to stick with Arizona. They're playing this in Scottsdale, and I think that is another team that actually does have pitching. And I think that they have proven that, and I think that will help them. However, I want to talk about Stanford for 2 minutes. Stanford is on a 10-game losing streak, rolling into this tournament as the 8th seed on a 10-game losing streak.
But they're also on a 3-year Omaha streak.
Okay, exactly. Which means if they would like to keep that streak alive, they are going to have to win some ball games in Scottsdale this week, which don't like their chances because, again, they've been very bad. However, I would like to have a positive moment of Stanford baseball. And I don't even think I've talked to you about this, Jake. Jake, are you aware of what is going on with one Quinn Matthews?
No.
All right. That is very exciting when I get to reveal to what has happened. What do you guys remember about Quinn Matthews, left-handed pitcher, Stanford University?
He threw a lot of pitches in one game, had a funny glove, really good changeup too.
Yeah. Quinn Matthews, and remember, right, 156 pitches, complete game against Texas last year. They go to Omaha. Everyone's freaking out. Oh my God, you're ruining this kid. He's never going to be able to pick his arm up. Oh my! And what's going to happen? He's going into pro ball. He's going to be so tired when he gets into pro ball that he won't be able to pitch well, right? Oh wait, just kidding. Cardinals draft him in the 4th round, and he's now throwing harder than he ever has in his life. He's
okay
upper 90s and has a 1.43 ERA in 37 innings to start the year with 63 strikeouts.
Oh my God.
Quinn Matthews, fresh off his 1 billion pitches thrown in his last year at Stanford, is now dominating A-ball and will be in Double-A in short order. So shouts out to Quinn Matthews. I'm very happy for him. And I'm very happy that something is going well in the Stanford baseball universe because, yikes, folks, yikes. But hey, at least they're not UCLA, who finished in last place and didn't make the tournament. All right, Steve, one more conference tournament. You had highlighted the CAA, the Coastal Athletic Association. Are there any other conference tournaments that you're watching closely, or is that one you wanted to shout out?
CAA is one I wanted to shout out because I'll be there. Because as you mentioned, it is cool. Seeing all these conference tournaments where everybody gets an at-large bid and it's like, oh, yay, fun. But we already knew you were going to do that because, even if you lose, it's not your last games of the season. But the CAA is a tournament where it's like, hey, I'm going to watch somebody's dreams come true. I'm going to watch somebody go on to the postseason that may not have, which is really cool. So I'm really excited for that one. I'm excited to see that moment in person because that's like the best moment and the best feeling in sports where it's like, oh, our season could be over. Well, but it's not. We get to party for one more week at least. And that's just such a good time. So I'm really excited for the CAA tournament. It's at UNCW. And I'm going to pick the Seahawks to win it. I think they can pull it off.
Jake, are there any other kind of mid-major conferences that you are intrigued by?
Yeah, we got the Army-Navy Patriot League showdown, right? And then
it's already in progress. That's not really a tournament, right? I guess that's already
the series, right?
The Champ Series, yeah.
It's the way
I love I love a series. So the Ivy League series is always a fun one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's I think, right, didn't Columbia already lose? So I think we've already got a weird situation going on there. But yeah, I mean, Sun Belt will be a delight, I am sure. I might be making an appearance at the Big East Championship game on Saturday in Cincinnati at Prasco Park. So I think it's like St. John's, Xavier, UConn, and another team that I'm forgetting. Probably Creighton. But yes.
Cornell Penn Ivy League Championship is today.
Oh, there you go. So that's timely. Georgetown. Oh, Georgetown is the other team at the Big East. So might be making an appearance at that. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, like you said, these are the ones when there's stakes and it actually matters because you're actually playing for a spot in the tournament. That is delightful. And I hope there's some team that's like 10 games under 500 that goes in a run like Tulane, because that is so funny. All right, Steve, let's run through some moments and then let's say goodbye because I got to go soon.
Yeah, sure. Let's do that. Also, shout out to Tulane, who's not going to surprise us this year because they had 16 more wins this time in 2024 than they had in 2023. So shout out to the Green Wave. And also, shout out to another person named Baseball Barbecue, because Baseball Barbecue started when a broken grill fork and a cracked bat came together to make the perfect grill tool. Now, Baseball Barbecue makes patented bat handle barbecue tools and cutting boards that are licensed for the best teams in college baseball. Fun and functional, Baseball Barbecue products are perfect for casual fans and serious grillers alike, and a great way to out-tailgate your rivals. Visit baseballbarbecue.com/D1Baseball to find the perfect grilling gift for the college baseball fan in your life. With the first transition being smooth, the second one can never be as good.
Never.
It can't be,
No. You got to balance it out.
Yeah.
That makes
sense.
But
we got to get into some moments. And with this being the final weekend of the regular season, we got some of my least favorite kind of moments, which are sad ones that make me sad. So the first one I wanted to give a shout out to St. Bonaventure. Because they have this really cool tradition where after the last game of the season, the seniors take their last lap around the park, which is just a great way to make memories with your friends on the baseball field one last time. It's the seniors go around and hug all their teammates, which, let me tell you, if this happened in my career, absolute waterworks. It would not be a pretty scene.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big crier. I'm a big crying in baseball kind of guy. That's just the type of person I am. So that would have been a terrible trip around the bases for me, but a funny memory because everyone would have been like, hey, remember when Steve cried like a little baby?
Little baby.
Yeah. Baby back. But anyway, speaking of things that made me want to cry, there was a set of twins playing for the USF Bulls named Hunter and Tanner Mink. One of them had transferred in. They started their career at Florida, transferred to USF so they could be teammates in 2022. But it's the final outing for Tanner Mink. Sorry, I'm looking at both the names and getting confused because twins. But they're redshirt seniors, and Tanner Mink is pitching. His brother Hunter Mink comes out for the mound visit and the pitching change. They hug each other, and there's some tears, and it's very sad for, one of the last mound visits, the last mound visit of his collegiate career. And everybody's happy for him. Everybody's hugging him, and Steven's sitting on Twitter crying about it. So we're going to start off with those two moments and just, take a second and say, y'all are rad. Thank you for having cool college baseball careers and college baseball careers that you cared so much about that tears were worth being shed over. And, that's an honorable thing.
On a happier note, Steve.
Happier note. Whew. Commonwealth Clash, baby. It's hot. And the Who's.
This was. Oh, my gosh. So,
Virginia Tech just couldn't catch a break.
No. It was
more like Harrison did a this.
This was a tough weekend to be a Hokie as they had a lead. Going to the bottom of the 13th. Can we got to win and get into the ACC tournament? Nope. Harrison Didewick said, sorry.
Yeah.
And Danny Wex on the call, I believe. Our dear friend Danny Wexman crushed this home run call. Harrison Didewick having a monster season. He really has not gotten a ton of attention, but I think that could change come postseason time. He's been a really good player for them.
Yeah, and I saw one tweet where a guy was like, I came to this game with my wife and my child. My wife had to leave in the 5th, and they were down 9-0 or something like that. And then in the 7th, my kid wanted to go home, so I dropped him off and came back to the game. It's now I just watched a walk-off home run in the 13th. So just a really cool moment, but also Harrison Didewick has just absolutely been killing it this season. So shout out to him. Got to give him some love. Next thing I got to give a shout out to is I'm all for any coach who's trying to get people into the games. And Roland Fanning at Austin P is doing exactly that, where they tweeted a picture of their video board. It's just a picture of him, arms crossed, standing there, and it says, "First 50 fans get a free beer on coach," which I love. He tweeted, "First 50 fans, 21 years of age and up." Sorry, there's a lot of emojis in this tweet, which my brain can't switch back and forth from regular font to emojis. But get a free beer on me, exclamation point. And then, of course, let's go pee, which makes sense because you're having the beer, you're going to need to pee. Hashtag bang. But we love Coach Fanning. He's an absolute maniac in terms of just excitement around the game of baseball, and we absolutely love to see that. Now, last moment that we don't love to see is UMES did close out the season. They pulled it off, the old 0-48. We are looking forward to them having some valuable time off this offseason to reflect, to regroup, rebuild, and get stronger for next season. I did want to highlight on April 19th, the Eagles were so close. They were so close in the ninth. They had a 1-run lead on Coppin State, and the lead was squandered away, which you just hate to see it. It wasn't like a walk-off home run. There were some messy counts involved, and Coppin State was able to squash the hopes of getting that coveted first win, which really just derailed them for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
so
man.
Here's
it's hard to spin 0-48.
No, but I'll do it. Ready? I'll spin it. I'll spin it for you. Ready?
Spin it, baby. Spin it.
In 2017, gentlemen, the St. Peter's Peacocks went 0-38.
Yeah.
The next year they went 2-42.
10 more losses. This is 10 more losses.
But the next year they went 2-42. Right.
Okay.
It's been a grind, and the teams at the bottom of Division I that do not have any resources whatsoever are in a very tough spot. But this year, the Peacocks won 12 games, and I don't know how many of the players, I know it's a long time ago, but I don't know how many of the players right now are going to have the opportunity to build up. But I hope that the players that return to this team next year, when they get that first win, it will be a very special thing. Because I remember following this at the D3 level with Finlandia, and when they finally got a win after 3 winless seasons in a row. And it's absolutely wild that you could, because it's baseball. You'd think you'd be able to win one, but it's hard. Baseball's hard.
No, it's tough. And I'm not bashing UMES. I know this team, I believe in this team. I have seen them win. When I redshirted at UMBC, they did beat us in a game. I know it can be.
That's
tough.
the thing. They won 18 games last year. This isn't even really a St. Peter situation where they've been down for this long. It's just, just wasn't going well for them this year. So but hopefully next year that first
you can guys,
so delicious.
Guys, you can donate to the program on the website. I might throw them a couple bucks.
I think that would be nice. They could use it,
honestly. Let's promote that.
One final topic before we get out of here. Birmingham Southern, this got a bit of attention yesterday. This is something we've been following for much of this season. As far as I know, University of Maryland Eastern Shore will be open next year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, why are you saying that? Well, because University of Maryland Eastern Shore will compete next year again in Division I baseball. Birmingham Southern College, one of the Division III powers over the last 2 decades or so. That is a school that is closing, just closing up shop. This is actually happening to a lot of smaller liberal arts schools across the country. Cabrini is another one that is closing. There have been a few others that have, this is just what is going to happen. I'm not going to get into a whole thing about the state of higher education right now, but the point is there are schools that are closing because it's not easy to stay open and whatever. Anyway, but that Birmingham Southern has this powerhouse program is one of them is in the, small school baseball world is a pretty shocking development. And they are effectively closing their doors on May 31st. And this is a team that had another good season in the SAA, not quite as good as last year, but still a team that deserved to be in the postseason. They got an at-large and they won their regional over the weekend. They are now advancing to the super regional round against Denison, which will not be easy. However, if they are to defeat Denison in the Super Regional next week and advance to the Division III College World Series, they will indeed be playing for a school that no longer is open. We often talk, Jake, about, playing for your childhood, extending your youth through baseball by refusing to be eliminated in your college baseball postseason. And this is an extreme example of that, as the BSC Panthers look to extend the life of not just their baseball careers, but of their entire academic institution. We are rooting for them, and not only because I went to a school that is top rivals with Denison. Everyone will be rooting for Birmingham Southern this weekend, and I just wanted to shout them out.
Yeah. If you're in that situation, do you get to pick new jerseys?
No, it's just blank.
How rogue can you go after? Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know.
Like, can I do steroids?
Yeah,
because school can't test me.
Right, like, you always talk about
like
when you're on a team, you're representing the institution.
I'm just representing. I'm just balling with my bros. Like we're all
just a
jacked
men's league
up on
team.
roids.
Yeah.
I'm not going to drug test my friends. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, the NCAA might have something to say about that once you get to the World Series. But I hope to be attending the D3 World Series in Cleveland at some point in a few weeks. So hopefully I will be seeing the Panthers there, as they will just be, maybe they'll just be the Panthers at that point. They will no longer have the name of their school on their jerseys. But I'm very much looking forward to that. Unless you guys have players and pitchers of the year, we can skip that. Although I did want to have one update before we say goodbye. And that is regarding our team's draft.
Oh God.
So no, Jake, no. You think, oh, this is bad news. So at the beginning of the season, we all drafted 10 teams each, mostly from the top 25 and the teams within the top 25. And we broke it up so it was within, groups of 5, so we could only pick from each little group within the top 25. It was not just drafting straight from the top 25. Anyway, we all picked 10 teams. We came up with a scoring system. We got 1 point for every regular season win. And in the beginning of the season, as I was tracking it, Team Jake was in really rough shape. However, over the last month of the season, Team Jake has stormed past both me and Steve and is now in a commanding lead going into the postseason. Now, the postseason will probably ultimately determine this, because you get more points for making a regional, for winning a regional, reaching Omaha, blah, 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 blah. We'll update that. But I just wanted to say I ran the numbers yesterday. And after the regular season, going into conference tournaments, Jake's teams, Wake Forest, Tennessee, East Carolina, Alabama, Northeastern, Louisville, Southern California, yikes, bad pick, Oklahoma State, UConn, and Penn are 343 and 187 for a 647 winning percentage. Jake, you have 343 points going into conference tournament week. Steve's teams, Florida, Oregon State, Virginia, Coastal Carolina, South Carolina. We're sweating this week. UNC Wilmington, Florida State, great pick. Troy, pretty good pick. Indiana State, great pick. Texas State, bad season. Steve's teams, 352 and 188. Oh, so Steve is slightly ahead. I take that back. You were ahead of him like a couple weeks ago. So Steve is 9 wins ahead of Jake. My squads. Boys, I need a big postseason, and I'm not feeling good about it. My teams, LSU, Vanderbilt, Duke, okay, Iowa, disaster, Kansas State, Indiana, UC Irvine, my best pick by far, Stanford, catastrophe, Oral Roberts, catastrophe, and Maryland, 315 wins. So I am like 30 points behind you guys. All right.
Jordan,
now,
that's a tough group.
A really tough group. I did not do well. But the postseason, I still will have some teams in the playoffs. Maybe Irvine will go on a run, and we get more points for regionals, and we'll save that for future weeks. But I just wanted to update everybody, because I am intrigued as to how that shakes out as we move ahead. But gentlemen, when we next speak, we will have a field of 64. I don't know exactly when we're going to record that, but we'll figure that out, and I'm looking forward to it. Steve, enjoy the ACC tournament. Jake Mintz, enjoy what tournament are you going to watch? Who knows? We'll see.
I got my alumni game.
Oh, right. So maybe we'll get an update on that next week as well. All right. Steve, final words. Go ahead.
Final words. How's the regular season already over?
Time flies when you're having fun, dude.
It does. It does. And time certainly flew. This season was an absolute blast. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Regular season's over, and that's a bummer. But the good news is the postseason's here, which is when the chaos really, truly, absolutely begins. And we'll have you covered for all that craziness and more on the Schoch Factor podcast. Thank you so much again for tuning in, whether you're listening on, the Sirius XM sports app, which apparently you can do now, which is cool, or just wherever you listen to your D1 baseball podcast. We thank you for tuning in. Thank you to our sponsors, Soldier Sports and Baseball Barbecue, for making this all possible. And of course, let's have a great week, everyone. Bye.